Hey guys, Chris from Provo Beast Audio Installation, and in today's video we're replacing the front door speakers and dash speakers on this 2019 Subaru Ascent. Now in this video we're going to show you how to replace the factory 6x9 in the lower part of the front door and the tweeter that's located in the dash area. We'll show you the parts that you'll need for your install, then we'll head back here to get everything reinstalled. Let's get started. Now as we jump into things, one quick thing to note, this Subaru does not have the HARMAN KARDON system. It's not the upgraded sound system, it's the base system. But whether you have the upgraded or not, it should be a very similar process. Now because we have the base audio sound system, we don't have to worry about amplifiers or anything like that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and first and foremost get this panel off so we can locate and retrieve our factory 6x9. Well, I have this little angled pick tool to kind of help me get inside there. Basically, I use that pick tool and pull out so I can pop our cover out of the way. Now using that same pick tool, and then there is a little slit in that little door where you can get either a flathead screwdriver or a pick tool to pop it open. Go ahead and remove those two Phillips screws. Now the rest of the panel is actually just held on with clips. We have a panel tool and we're going to put this panel tool next to that clip and rotate it to pop it forward. Now the panel is super tight against the body of the vehicle, so I do like to get just this little flathead to just kind of get a bite and get it started. Don't scratch anything. So once you've popped all the clips on the door panel, you'll lift up and off, just like so. And you're gonna have a harness to disconnect here and two cables to disconnect from your handle and lock. And finally, if you have a light here at the bottom of the panel, you wanna disconnect that harness as well. Now usually your yellow one goes at the top. Four screws up and around the factory speaker and your speaker plug. You can unplug your speaker harness. Okay, so at this time with our speaker out, let's now get repositioned to show you how to remove the tweeter from the dash. Now let's turn our attention over to the tweeter. Same thing, use that panel tool to pop the grill off. It's only held in with clips. Go ahead and give it a slight tug and it should come out of the way. We'll just put it off to the side. We don't have to disconnect the light harness there. Two Phillips screws. And we're going to use an angled bit to remove those two screws. Be very careful you don't drop them into the dash. Now once those two screws are removed, pull out your tweeter and you'll see the main harness. Go ahead and disconnect that harness. That's it. Alright, so here at the bench, the parts that we're going to go with first and foremost are the speakers that we've chosen to install today. These are the Alpine Type S 6x9 component set because the tweeter is separate from the mid-range. Now, these are the Alpine S-S69C component setup. Now, if you want to actually go ahead and just install a coaxial in the front door, you can. You're kind of selling yourself short because you still have the factory tweeter there up in the dash. So we do recommend the component set. If you still want the coaxial, we can link that also in the description. Now, to accommodate these in the factory location, we need a bracket adapter, and we're using the one for Toyota. To install our 6x9 is the Metra 82-8146. This is a 6x9 speaker adapter. If you do want to do a 6.5 instead of a 6x9, we can also link that version of this bracket in the description. For the tweeter to get that mounted, this is the perfect size. It shows it's for GM, but this fits great for our application. The Metra 82-3016, and essentially this will bolt up in the factory location. We just need to cut the hole to the specific size tweeter we're installing today. Happens to be a 2-inch hole that needs to be installed in this bracket. Now as for our wiring adapter, so it's a plug and play system. Our tweeter wiring adapter, we're using these Red Wolf Toyota tweeter adapters. We'll actually just cut these and modify this harness a little bit so it'll connect right up to our aftermarket tweeter. And for the door, the mid-range speaker for our 6x9, we're using the Metra 72-8104. Now everything here comes in pairs, not just one, so you can actually do both the driver and passenger side. We've already installed the driver side, that's why we have one left for the passenger. Now like I said, we're going to link everything down in the description here in case you want to pick some up yourself. It makes this install a heck of a lot easier when you have the right parts. The first thing we need to do is grab our 6x9. We're going to grab our bracket adapter. Now you'll notice there's a hole here and a hole here. We're going to use this upper hole to feed our door harness through. We like to tessa tape this, give it a little bit more protection in the dash. And we're going to get our 6x9 into the bracket itself, get this all taken care of, then we can go back to the car to get this guy installed. Alright, so we got our speaker mounted in our bracket adapter. Now the holes can be a little too big, so what we did is we went ahead and put our fasteners that came with the speaker, allow you to get a little bit tighter bite on the bracket adapter. We just don't want this rattling loose in the door. Now with that done, we'll flip this on over here, and we're going to grab our harness adapter. We got to feed it through the hole up there, and we're going to plug our terminals. They're already color coded and size fit, so they can only go one way. We'll plug it in. Now this is our harness adapter. This plugs into the vehicle, and we're going to modify this slightly. We're actually going to just cut this end off because we don't need these guys. What we're going to do is hook this into our crossover, and then from the crossover it goes to our tweeter. Now our mid-range, our 6x9 already has a passive crossover built on to the speaker itself, so this guy is just for our tweeter. We've chose this setup just because if we have a crossover that goes to both the mid-range and the tweeter, it gets a little messy with all the cables running. This is a very simple setup, especially when your tweeter is separate from the door. If our tweeter was in the door itself, we could use just about any sort of component set, but we chose this set because our crossover is separate just for the tweeter. Makes things a lot more clean. Have so much extra wire that we don't need, so we're going to cut out a ton of this wire. We're going to solder up just to shorten everything up and get this thing buttoned up. Okay, so much shorter in length here. Got some tessa tape to protect our connections. Everything's soldered and heat shrunk. This end plugs into the car. This bolts up right into the factory location. Now, if you're worried about this rattling around, you can put some one-sided foam tape up and around this to put it up in the dash. We'll find a spot that it doesn't rattle around. We're done here at the bench. Let's head back to the car to get everything installed. Alright, so with the mid-range done in the door, and the tweeter here all done in the dash, go ahead and give it a test, make sure everything's working properly, and we can start reassembling. Now the cool thing is, with the way that we've mounted everything, there's plenty of clearance, no clearance issues. You don't have to modify or do anything to the speaker grill whatsoever. Alright, we are all done here. That's about it for this video. Now, if you have any questions on what we did here, go ahead and post a comment below. We're also, on this specific vehicle, installing a 5-channel amplifier as well as rear door speakers. Now, if you want to see those installs, we'll link those videos down in the description. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to hit the like button if you like what you saw, and don't forget to subscribe. We post great content on the channel all the time, and we'll see you in the next video.